relates to dad, he would have a very, obviously, at the point where he has a stroke, I mean, he's pretty much out of contention.
Right.
You know, he was, you know, physically suffering from a physical disability. Mentally, he wasn't all there enough to function on his own, but he lost a lot of his memories and remembering everything. So that would put him out of that. Now, even if that didn't happen, say he didn't suffer a stroke, as we were going through everything else, once a forensic analysis began, his own mental illness and his own treatments would come into play. The book would be opened. You know, he would have to provide all of his medical records from a time in the Navy, from his different mental breakdowns that he had that he tried to sweep under the rug and kind of act like they were no big deal or they didn't exactly exist. You know, that would all come to light in the court system. And, you know, as I said early on, the court now is much more receptive to somebody that suffers a breakdown, suffers from any issues, and takes it seriously and seeks their treatment and seeks to address it. In Don Sr.'s situation, he seemed to be in complete denial about the whole thing. He tried to treat everything as a blip on the radar. Oh, that was a one-time thing that happened. I had my breakdown, but I'm back to normal. I'm good to go. It didn't seem that he was able to, you know, see that it was just a build-up and things would build up and it would eventually just happen again. So a court, you know, looking at it in this situation, it's unlikely that they would look to award him custody in this just based on his own history and his own denial of the treatments. If he was seeking treatment and he was getting therapy and he was taking his own medication throughout this, he would be looked in a much different light. And the reality of the situation is, I could see if this case was going on, is that even if that was playing out, I'm pretty sure Mimi would be throwing up her hands in the first place saying, how am I supposed to do this? You know, even though she did. But prior to the stroke, how am I supposed to do this all on my own? How am I supposed to handle these 12 kids and raise these 12 kids? And, you know, she would probably be looking for help from him in the first place just because it's very, very difficult on two parents, let alone one, and then stretching it out over two households. But that's not to say that the court wouldn't have issues with Mimi on her own. It didn't look like she had necessarily the mental health issues or the mental wellness issues on her side. But as I said before, you know, there might have been maybe something that was undiagnosed because she was never treated. But she was certainly, you know, in denial as to what was happening and what was going on with her own family. And she was turning a blind eye to the whole situation. So, you know, it would seem that, as I said, on some things, when the forensic would come back on the children and they would ask the mom about what's happening, it seems that they wouldn't get straight answers from her either. And she wouldn't be in a full, you know, fully comprehending the severity of the situation or how she was, you know, reacting to what was going on. I think, you know, reality is in this, she would be receiving services. It would probably go custody to her, but she would be receiving services for, you know, to deal with all of her issues and everything that was going on as well. Just because she had a lot of issues on her own that were going through, even though, like I said, it was either undiagnosed or might not, if she went through something, come back with it.